Hello, this is Abby.
Dear Abby, this is gonna be a long one.
Oh boy.
Dear Abby, how do you tell the difference between a new exciting crush and a rebound?
Does it matter?
Dear Abby.
Dear Abby.
Dear Abby.
Welcome to our little corner of the internet. This is the Dear Abby podcast. I hope you stay and hang out with us. See you in a sec. Okay, you guys. How rude of me. Not me looking at my phone when I'm starting the episode. So rude. Anyways, give me 1 second. I'm kidding. Welcome to today's episode of Dear Abby. My name is Abby. I will be hosting this podcast for you guys, and I'm super excited to be here with you. I have had a little bit of a day today. I say that every single Thursday. I think every week just feels like a whole year. I don't know what is happening to my brain or what has happened to my brain in the past 2 years, but I feel like every single day is a time warp. I don't know if this is how time has always felt to me, but it feels like it goes by slower and faster at the same time, which is a little bit weird. Yeah, today has been just a sad day for me. I've been on my period, and I think that's what makes it extra emotional, because I just have normal life stuff and everything just feels heavy. Like my heart feels really heavy and my chest feels tight. Maybe I have a cardiac problem, actually, but hopefully not, because I'm pretty young. And my brain has just felt foggy, and I've just felt like my eyes are heavy. I don't know. That's just what the experience has been for me today. I had a major panic attack earlier today. Well, I wouldn't say a panic attack. I think it was more an anxiety attack. And I don't know if there's like a big difference, I don't really know too much about that, but panic attacks, from my understanding, kind of happen more randomly, and you don't really exactly know the cause. It just happens. And then you spiral. It just happens in like a blink of an eye. I feel like that happens to me not as often as it used to. When I was younger, it happened like, I'm not kidding, probably once every couple of weeks. Anxiety attack happened actually less often for me growing up. But now it happens more often, where I just feel very overwhelmed, and it happens gradually, where eventually I'll just not snap, because it's not like a snap and I'm manic. It's just, it just is like, okay, it's too big. It needs to be released. I just usually let it happen. And that usually just looks like crying for a good 30 minutes and letting all of the worry and the doubting and the exhaustion and the scared part of me, I think, surface is the best way to describe it. And all of those thoughts come up, and I just cry through them and try not to answer anything, but just feel it, And that was today, because I had, so it's more of an anxiety attack, because it wasn't really random, I guess. It's nothing huge, and this is, I think, stemming from, we're getting right into it today. I don't have a ton of life updates for you guys, so I probably have funny things happen to me throughout the week, but I can't remember anything, because like I said, time warp. So anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about the anxiety attack. So I've just been extra anxious in my relationship when there's time apart, which I've never been like that before, ever, in any relationship I've ever been in. And until after my divorce, and maybe I should go into, I've told the story about my divorce on What We Said podcast, and I hope that it helped some people who maybe have experienced something similar. Just know they're not alone. But I don't think I've really ever in depth talked about the details of it, because I've always felt like that's like exposing my ex-husband or exploiting like something for a gain. And so I feel a little bit weird talking about it. And I also get insecure about talking about my divorce, because I don't want people to think like I've made my whole personality my divorce, but that is something that's been extremely hard and challenging for me emotionally to get past, just the way that it happened, I think. But I feel like I've moved past it, but there's certain wounds that I think will take a long time to heal. And I just think I'm doing my best, and I don't let it destroy relationships I have now. I don't let it take control, but every once in a while, if there's anything similar to what happened with my ex, it's just immediately I feel so much anxiety and I can't help it. Like I can't just like tell it to go away. Do you know what I mean? I hate when people say that. My boyfriend that I have now, we're best friends. We have to work a lot on our relationship because I think we both are imperfect and we have to work on our communication, and we've gotten so much better than when we first started dating. The past day or so, it hasn't been like a week or anything or a couple of days. It's literally just been like 2 days. My boyfriend has just wanted more alone time to do whatever he's doing. And that's such a normal thing to ask in a relationship. I love my alone time. I love him, but I also love being alone. So nothing wrong with that. Anytime he ever asks, or just not even, he doesn't like ask, can I have alone time? He's just like, hey, like I just want like a day to myself. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Internally though, I am so anxious. Those words give me so much anxiety. And I just feel like that's the beginning to the end. It's just so stupid, but just so no one else feels crazy or alone if they feel like this. I don't know. I just had a lot of things resurface today. So I gave him alone time, of course. That happens like pretty often on both ends. And we see each other every single day. So every once in a while, it's like, can I just have a day or two or something and I'm going to be by myself doing my own thing? Fine. I hyper focus on any tone shift, any shift in anything. If he's talking to me a little bit differently, if I don't know, like I try to analyze, I think, a conversation when I feel anxious. I'm trying to not do that to the point where I am now overthinking and start to get more insecure and more just anxious about the situation. That's not even a situation. I'm just anxious. And I was like, why am I so anxious? Like, why do I get so anxious if he ever wants to be alone or like feels like he needs space from me? And it's very obvious when I think about it, because when I was married to my ex-husband, when I was diagnosed with OCD, I was pretty much didn't get out of bed. I would force myself to maybe take a class or go to the gym, but then I would keep my head down. I couldn't look at the sky. I couldn't get in my car without having a panic attack. I thought I was actually going crazy, and I almost told him, my mom, like multiple times to just take me to the hospital because I think I'm going to go crazy when my OCD was at its worst, and I didn't know what it was before I got diagnosed. So I just legitimately thought I was going crazy. And sometimes I still am scared. I am, but I've learned to accept the uncertainty. But it was really bad. I was really scared. And I was trying my best to figure out what was going on with me. He was very distant throughout the whole thing. I always, in my head, and what I've seen too from aunts, uncles, relationships that I've seen, when someone goes through something hard, your spouse is the person that's there for you. And that's like a given to me when you get married. It's like through sickness and in health. So for me, that was not even a question. That like, yeah, that's what we signed up for. And I'm trying my best and I'm doing everything I can. And I'm pushing myself to, get out of bed. Even though I was scared of literally my own awareness. And he just was so distant and just kept asking pretty much to have space for me. So that was actually the beginning of the end for me. So it was like a weekend here, and then it was like another weekend. He'd go up to his parents' house in another state because he just needed some time. And I was always like, okay, yeah, like I know I'm not fun to be with, like go for it. But then it kept happening, and then until eventually, he had planned everything that he was going to leave. And then he came home after one of those trips that he just wanted some space for me. And not even like space, like we're separating. It was like, I'm mentally not doing okay because you're not. So I have to like take a leave pretty much, which again is fine a couple of times. But I feel like deep down I knew that I didn't want that type of love where someone would run when things got hard, obviously. So anytime now my boyfriend asks for like a day or so of space, I get so anxious because that was the beginning of the end in my last relationship. And as much as I'm over that relationship, I would never want to get in that relationship ever again. Your brain doesn't forget that. Your brain doesn't forget the warning signs now. It doesn't forget like all the things that were done to you and right before someone abandons you. And quite literally my hour of need. So I think I just don't like talking about the logistics of it because I feel like I'm trying to get attention or trying to be like, oh, woe is me. Because I know everyone goes through something like that. Something that's like just so heartbreaking and confusing. Genuinely gives you a wound that feels gaping, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I've just felt so sensitive today. So I'm sorry I'm being a baby, but I almost recorded this tomorrow because I've been feeling really sensitive today. But I do want to show, like, I like showing all sides of someone's emotions and who people are. And I don't want to hide my sensitive side and be like, oh, I'm fine all the time, you know, because that's not true. I tell my boyfriend that it makes me anxious, and he's very understanding and he's very sweet about it and is very reassuring. So I do not even want to talk about that today. I don't know. I just feel like I can't really focus on anything else right now. Bleh. Okay. So we can move on from that, but that's been my day today, and thank you guys for listening to me. It's okay if there's something that you feel like you've moved on from or you've worked past and it still comes up in moments that trigger it. It is your responsibility on how you react and treat others when you feel like that, but at the same time, it was not your fault that now you feel like this. So that's something that's always tricky to me. But I just want to encourage anyone that, just is frustrated that stuff keeps coming up and you can't move past it, that you're not like too late on healing. You're not too slow on healing. You're healing the pace that you need to be healed at. You probably have a lot more room to be more patient with it. I'm now slowly seeing the beauty in time and healing, and also the balance of time and making small, subtle changes in the way you think and the way you treat emotions and feelings and thoughts. I definitely realize that I do intellectualize my feelings and my emotions and what happens internally for me. Sometimes I use that as a way to not feel what I want to, what is happening in my body and in my heart and my head. So sometimes I'll just use my brain and intellectualize it, and it makes me feel a little bit better, which I don't think intellectualizing is always bad, but I think sometimes it does just make things more stressful for me. And I felt disconnected a little bit with myself when I do that. And I think for me, just intellectualizing your emotions and feelings is just when you feel a little bit uncomfortable or you feel sad or you feel whatever you're feeling, instead of just sitting, like actually letting it come up and listening to everything, but not like agreeing with everything, just listening to everything. You feel like you have to be strong and suppress the emotions and suppress the feelings because you're scared you'll like lose control if you have feelings. And to me, feelings don't equal an action. To me, feelings just equal feelings, you know? But when you intellectualize, it just suppresses the feelings and you focus on why you're feeling that way, how often you feel that way, but to the point where it's like you focus on it way too much. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm trying to describe how I personally intellectualize my emotions, and I think that's kind of just it. Instead of feeling, like logically, I know that I will be messed up a little bit and broken from my divorce, and I will not let that get in the way of things. But then when the actual wounds come up and they feel and they are real and they are present and they are a part of me, unfortunately, and fortunately now, I don't want to feel that. I'd rather just be aware and just again, intellectualize. Like, okay, yes, logically it makes sense that if my husband left me and blah, 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 then blah, 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 you know? I think that's what it is. Instead of actually having it feel as real as it is and letting that happen. I'm curious to know if you guys would want an episode of just like all the nitty gritty details. You guys probably would because people love the tea, but I don't really want to give it as like the tea as in, I don't know. I just feel like I'm hesitant to share some stuff. But if you guys want to know, I'm happy to share it. It's probably what the people want to hear, you know? I could probably get so many views on TikTok and Instagram if I have a bunch of clickbaity things that I say. Okay, so really what I wanted to talk about today was two different things. This podcast episode is all over the place, so I'm sorry. One, so I was playing a video game with my brother Clay, who was on the episode last week, and he said, what were we doing? This guy was trying to talk to us on chat so the game that we play is Apex, and it's usually trio. So it's 1, 2, 3 people can play with each other. And usually it's me and someone else. And then sometimes I'll find a third person, but most of the time it's just me and my brother. So the third person in our party was just a random stranger on the internet playing. And he had a mic. Sometimes when people want to chat with you on Xbox or whatever game you're playing, they'll be like, hey, does anyone have a mic? You know, like, let's talk or whatever. Usually I don't respond, especially as a girl. You are immediately when someone says, hey, does anyone have a mic? And it is a man, I will not say one word because I am scared for my life. If it's a girl, sometimes I'll say hi, but even then I kind of get scared of gamer girls, which is probably bad. But so this guy was trying to talk to us pretty much. And I was like, oh, I feel bad. Like, I don't want to talk, but like I feel bad. I probably should. And Clay was like, Abby, he's like, not everyone wants your pity. And actually, he was kind of kidding, but I think he was also kind of serious because it probably gets really annoying. And he couldn't be more right, honestly. And it really made me take a look at myself. I don't want to pity people. Like, I don't see it as pitying people, but then I look at some of the things I feel bad for and I'm like, I actually hate feeling bad. Like, oh, I feel so bad for them. It's like, obviously it depends on what the situation is, but like something as small as someone's like, hey, does anyone have a mic? And no one responds. And then I'm like, oh, I feel bad. Like he's right. I should have just pitied people. No one wants my pity. It's very true. I don't want anyone's pity. Oh my gosh, there's actually nothing worse. Like even when I tell people like situations that I've been in and sad things and hard things that I've gone through, there's a difference between an empowering like recognition of the challenge that must have been, and that's horrible and I am so sorry that that's happened to you. There's a difference between that and someone pitying you, which is like, I can't think of exactly the difference, but I feel like there's just a tone, you know? And whenever someone pities me, I don't like it. I don't like it. I feel like a baby. I'm like, I'm not a baby. I'm fine, you know? I can get through it. I'll be okay. Don't pity me. That's just something that I think was funny because I don't think I've ever realized how much I probably do. Hopefully not, but I do probably come off as pitying people. I used to love, I feel like when you're young, you love pity. Like, you know, maybe not pity. I don't know. I feel like you do love it when you're young because I always wanted to break my arm, my leg, have a cast, walk with crutches. I think I said this in an episode before, but you know what the funniest thing to me was in high school? Why was it always the volleyball players that had the tape? Like, it was always the volleyball players. Do you want to talk about pick me? It's always the volleyball players. They always have, like, there's other sports, and volleyball players were always the ones that had tape on every inch of their body. They always had something, and it cracked me up because I just feel like you're 10 years old. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? You're literally 10. How is any muscle or any joint or anything wrong with you? Anyways, because they wanted a little bit of pity. Let's be honest. And that's okay because we were all kids back then. And sometimes I still would no, I wouldn't actually. 0% of me would like that anymore because how freaking annoying would that be to have a cast? When I did something to my ankle, it was the most annoying couple of months of my life. Just annoying, but glad it's okay now. It was a good reminder, is what I'm saying, to not pity people, to empower people, to make them feel like no matter their situation, that everything is going to work out for their good and they will take control, and we can have moments where we feel like a victim, where we feel sad, we feel overwhelmed, we feel angry, we feel confused. So it humbled me, I think, and I will not be having pity on anyone that tries to talk to me on chat now moving forward because they're probably fine. I think the reason why I want to talk about it is because right now there's a lot of narratives that go around, which I just think you have to be careful with how much you consume content that's talking about how you're like a victim to a bunch of stuff. Like, and I get like wanting to educate yourself and wanting a better life, a better situation. But I think sometimes when there's too much, just, I don't know, like psychologically, it's not good when you're consuming too much. That's like, you're victim to this, you're victim to that, you're victim to this. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want people to pity me. Like, I'm a big girl. I can make decisions and I'll be okay. I feel like I was really bad at consuming, not bad at, well, I was good at consuming, I guess I could say. I consumed a lot of that type of content and it just got really exhausting and just discouraging, I think, because I felt like a lot of people pitied me. And when I tell them about like that I'm Christian, I feel like a lot of people pity me, and it's like, what? Like, I don't get it. Like, if you want to understand, then just like ask me. Don't just assume and then pity people, I think, is more so what the whole point is. Which is what I did to that guy on chat. And maybe he was sad, but probably not, because he did not have an attitude that he would be sad if no one talked to him. It was more like he had an attitude that if I was lifeline and I didn't immediately throw down my bot anytime anyone has like a sliver of health taken away, he would yell at me. And then the second thing that I wanted to talk about was just to remind that not everything is a huge sign of something. And not every tiny word, tone, phrase, color, I don't know, situation, circumstance is a sign of something of huge significance. Sometimes some things just are what they are. That's okay. I used to take everything as a sign of something. If I was in the right place, right time, wrong time, blah, 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 blah. And it got really overwhelming because I just always felt like I was in the wrong place then, because everything could be taken as a sign. It's just all about your perspective. So there are some things that can be a sign or can reassure you that you're on the right path or that you're with the right person. Some things like that. But I honestly don't think that happens very often at all in your life. Like at all, actually. I think we just have to be confident enough in ourselves and our ability to be on the right path, and that God or whatever you believe in will lead us to where we need to go and where we're supposed to go, to not overcomplicate it, because I get really stressed when I start to overcomplicate everything in my life, being like, well, is that a sign that I should take this job? I think that's probably why I've been thinking about this, is because I've been applying for a lot of different jobs. And I've interviewed a bunch. I actually get a lot of replies on my resume, so I'm pretty proud of myself. So if anyone wants to pay me for a resume revision, I would love to help. Anyways, I have been applying and interviewing after and having having interview after interview, I've just been really overwhelmed with decisions. Like I just feel like I have a lot of choices right now in my life, and I feel very stagnant and scared to make one because I'm like, well, is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this what I'm supposed to do? And I just think it's not that easy to mess up what's meant for you. You know, we think we're going to screw up our lives and mess everything up so easily because sometimes we just have that limited belief, and we can work on that. That's okay. So sometimes to look at your life instead of saying, okay, I'm going to easily screw this up, and flip it to be a little bit more confident in ourselves and trusting in what's meant for us, and that we'll choose it, you know? That I feel like it's just an easier way to live, and it's more peaceful, I think, for me at least. So if that works for you, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's just for my overthinkers and maybe my OCD girls and guys out there that obsess over small things like that. I think that's all I have to say on that. And going back to the beginning of the episode about just my relationship anxiety and being a bit anxiously attached, I have to tell myself that no matter what happens, even if the exact same thing happens again, that I really just don't want to give up on love, on a healthy relationship, on my dreams, on my goals, because, you know, if someone chooses not to love me, I'll still be okay. And I have people who choose to love me, like family and friends. So I know that maybe that's catastrophizing, but I think that's just really helpful for me to kind of ground myself. But also that does kind of show how much I do catastrophize in that way every once in a while. Of like, if my partner needs 1 day away from me, or 2 days, if my partner needs a couple of days or 2 days, not necessarily away from me, just like alone to get stuff done, or to just be in his own presence alone, I'm immediately having to like reassure myself and be like, okay, you know what? Maybe he comes back and he says, you're not for me and this is over. That would be horrible, and I would be really sad, and I'd feel sick, and I would be heartbroken for a while, but I was okay last time, and I will be okay this time, and I still have people that love me. Yeah. That makes me sound a little bit crazy, but that's all in my head. That's not helpful when you say it's all in your head. It's all, it is kind of all in my journal, in my head. We're all, there's girls here. You guys are listening. You know how it is. Anyways, okay, let's do a Dear Abby. I'm so sorry. This episode has been all over the place, but I hope it at least made a little bit of sense. Okay, so we have a voicemail. Thank you. It's brand new. I will say this every single week because we need your voicemails in order to make this podcast happen. You beautiful ladies and gentlemen, please submit your voicemails to me asking silly, fun, serious questions, and I would love to answer. They don't have to be super serious. They can be whatever you want, honestly. So, we did have someone write in about farting in their leather chair. So, and I did find out who that was, by the way. And I was correct that I did know them. I really hope I was watching. Okay, sorry. Really quick. I was watching videos back from when I was in New York when my sister and JC went on tour for their podcast. And I was thinking how horrifying that would be to do a live show. And I don't know what that would look like for my type of podcast because I don't have anyone to improv with or to jump back and forth with. So I don't know if I'd ever be able to do that. I think it would be more like TED Talk vibes, which I kind of hate that, you know? Like I actually kind of really hate that it would be TED Talk vibes. I don't want it to be that. I want it to be fun, but also real, you know? And a little bit different, but I was like, how would that work? I'm getting ahead of myself. I know. That won't happen for a long time, but I do want it to happen because I just think it would be fun. It's like this part of me that if I met people and if we were all in the same room, I don't know. I just think that would be amazing. So I don't want it to be, that was bad. It's not TED Talk vibes. That was the worst thing I could have said. And I'll never get, no one will ever go to my live shows. Here we go.
Dear Abby, I am in a situation where I have been in a friendship, love, relationship with my best friend. We've never been official, but we've been very intimate with one another for 3 years.
Okay.
And in and out of love with one another. Which is messy. We've lived together. I moved out due to like some situation. And he recently told me that he's going on a date with someone, and I can't help but feel angry, even though I feel like I wouldn't ever want to be official with him, but knowing that he's not available to me and that it might ruin our friendship that we do have. Like, we have such a good friendship outside of our messy relationship, intimate relationship, and he's like my comfort zone, and I feel heartbroken, but at the same time, I feel like I don't know how to get over this, because if I don't want him, for some reason, I'm not sure why, I feel like I'm scared of being vulnerable in that way with him. Regardless, I just don't know how to let him do his thing and not hold him back while still being his friend, if that makes any sense. Thank you for listening. Thank you if you respond. I look forward to hearing your next podcast, any podcast that you put out. Have a blessed day.
Oh boy. We got a pickle. Okay, first things that come to my mind. One, you got to let him do his thing, because, if it's meant to be and you guys are great together. I don't even know what you want, though, because I don't think you know what you want. It sounds like you can't, unfortunately, we can't just keep people to have like a comfort zone. If he's going on a date, that means he's ready and he wants to go on a date with someone. So especially if he asked her on a date, then there's something that, he wants. Like, he probably wants a real relationship that has a little bit more structure and it isn't as messy, maybe, is what he probably wants. Or maybe he wants even more messy, but it's normal. It's a normal feeling that when you're intimate with someone and you're with someone all the time and, you are vulnerable with them in some ways, then when they give attention to someone else and you've shared stuff with them, it's always going to feel like very, very hurtful, and it's okay to feel angry. You're not bad for feeling angry, but I think don't act on that feeling and let him do his thing. And if you want to actually have a conversation, be like, hey, look, I don't want to lose you. Unfortunately, I don't know. It's hard for me to see a way out and you guys are still good friends, because if you're friends that slip up and are more sometimes, and then you're in love and then you're not in love, you guys need some time away from each other, because I'm exhausted listening to that. And I think it's very confusing, probably. And for your poor hearts, I don't think your heart can handle back and forth. And like someone being a comfort zone and then they're not, and then they are, and then they're not. It's a lot healthier to just have things be structured, and you know what someone is to you. You know how they feel about you. Let him do his thing. And it's okay that you feel angry and hurt and confused. That's a very normal feeling. But you need to set some boundaries, and you need to hold yourself accountable for those boundaries. And same with him. He probably needs to as well. Definitely. So if you don't want to be intimate, if you don't want to get physical with him, if you don't want to do any of that stuff until honestly, that's what I would do, just because I get really emotionally attached to people I'm physical with, ever, in any capacity, honestly. So I would just say, hey, look, I don't know what we are, but I don't think I can watch you be with other girls while I have an emotional investment in you. So I think either that's it for us, And maybe we can try to remain friends, which I honestly don't think that's like the healthiest thing, because it sounds like you guys struggle to like keep certain boundaries. Just depends on what you want. If you want him and you want a relationship with him, like an actual real relationship, then definitely tell him. Say, okay, this is what's going to change, and lay it all out there. It feels so much better to lay things all out there, because even if it doesn't work out, and I know this is cliche, but genuinely this is how I've felt in my life. When you lay everything out there, you can't do anything else. And so your mind can rest and your heart can rest knowing that you actually did try everything and you were honest and you were open, instead of trying to play like a certain character or act like you're something and that you're feeling something you're not. It just helps push life along, you know? It's a better foundation, I think, for any type of a relationship anyways. I'm not going to lie, the falling in and out of love got me, because that's what feels like so tiring, I think, to me. Because it's like, just commit or don't commit. That's my 2 cents on that issue. Thank you so much for sending that in. Okay, I think that's all. I really don't know how long I've been talking, so hopefully I don't look at the timer and it's like way less or way more. Thanks so much for listening to this week's sad, depressing, all over the place episode. I hope you guys have a great weekend and do something fun this weekend. I will be having fun this weekend because I'm going to a murder mystery party, and the location is the Wild Wild West. My name will be Annie Croakley, and I'm a sharpshooter. I'm the best girl sharpshooter that's ever been in Dead Man. Dead Man is the city. So that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend, and we're going to try to figure out who shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. I kind of don't want to end the episode because I feel like I've just been so sad girl the whole time. I want to be happy and fun. I'm happy and fun now, I think. I think I'm happy and fun again. Of course, it's right when the episode is ending. Oh, that's so annoying. Why does this always happen? This is the story of my life. All of a sudden I'll just be like, wait, am I okay? Oh my gosh, I'm okay. And then the rest of the day I just feel like I'm floating, you know? I think I'm okay. I think life is good. You know, I think everything's actually okay. And I think I'm going to get through this. And I think I'm going to have a good life. And there's going to be a lot of good things that happen to me. And I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be really rich. I'm going to make so much money. I'm going to make way more money than you. And I'm okay. I'm just kidding. I really don't want to end though. I'm actually having fun now because I'm in a little bit of a better mood. So now I want to stay on the podcast. So I guess we just keep going? We can, because I'm in charge. I'm literally in charge. I can keep you guys here for as long as I want. I'm literally losing my mind. This is what happens. I kind of look like I'm wearing a wig right now. My hair is not the cutest it's been. It's also because I'm not used to wearing my hair curly, which maybe I should, because then it wouldn't look like a wig, because it would just look like my normal hair, because that's how I normally wear it. Sheesh. End the episode already. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Seriously. And I'm sad I'm going to end it, but maybe I'll record the episode after this episode so that I can keep talking to you guys. I spent a lot of money on my costume for this weekend. Love you guys so much, and have the best weekend. Do something fun. Take yourself out. Whatever you guys do, just do it. Love you. Bye. 우회전 taking a ride to join late 눈치 보면서 들어가 할 때 찾아 나머진 바빠
설레임 바꾸는 사람들 시간만 지나가 자신감 가지고 해와 그냥 천천히